away.
Amazing.
All right, I like the fact that you had already thought about the level of structure you needed in your business, of course, which I believe has a lot to do with the success of any business. Now, when it comes to agro businesses, for which you are a player in, I understand that it's not just when you say agriculture, there's the farming and then there's the processing. What really makes a successful agro business owner? And an agro-business, of course.
You have to study the value chain and find out where your strength is or where you want to play in. Maybe why I went into backward integration was because I'm an engineer and I have done a lot of on-the-field work, working in the oil sector. I used to be offshore a lot. So being in the field and being hands-on, it wasn't a problem for me. But for lots of people, when I tell them now, when you think about agriculture, not everybody has to do backward integration. Look at the value chain, see where you can play. So try to understand the industry you want to go in. Don't go because people say, oh, there's a scarcity of chicken, you're rushing. Everybody rushes in. And the time everybody's chicken is ready, the price crashes. You should not be producing for what is selling now. You should be producing for what will sell tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Because by the time your thing is ready, it's no more today, it is tomorrow. Mm. So try to understand which sector plays and how it functions before you rush in.
Let's help our audience at this point to understand when we talk about, the processing and then the farming. So can you help them just understand for those that would want to play in the farming bit and then for those who want to play in the processing bit,
okay,
what does this entail?
Some people might decide to go into, let me use poultry for example. Some people might decide into raising chicken. You don't have to raise chicken. You might decide I'm processing feed for the chicken people. That's processing. So you're going to take maize and lots of protein and process that for the people who are in poultry. Some people might decide I'm going to buy chicken off people in large volumes. Then I'll smoke it. I'll cut it into parts and sell as frozen chicken. Okay. I can do grilled chicken. So you don't have to be just selling it in the raw state. You can just add a little bit more and sell it as processed chicken. So that's a processing line. Some people buy granite, peanuts. You can decide to buy fresh peanut. You can decide to buy fresh peanut, dry it, bag it, just do a little bit of
peanut butter.
Or make peanut butter instead of selling it in the rawest state. Because even most of the peanut butter was consumed, we're still importing peanut butter.
Mm. So truth is, from your experience, I think you've had about 10 years experience in this now. Which of it really pays off more?
Processing.
Processing. How about packaging? I know there's a packaging bit to agriculture,
yeah, but
right?
when you process, you have to package.
Okay, so it's
but the only thing in processing is that if you're also processing, you also have to have a bit of your farming, because if not, you're going to be dependent on the people who are supplying your inputs.
Okay, and what happens when?
And when they don't. So even if you want to go into processing, after a while you might have to go back into backward integration. So you're not dependent on people who are supplying the input, because if you check it, practically everybody who's processing does a bit of backward integration to be able to assure that the feed into your processing is assured.
Okay, so does that now mean that it's advisable to do maybe a bit of everything?
Yes, you have to be, the way Nigeria is, you have to do a bit of everything. You have to be your logistic person, because even if you're depending on logistic people, sometimes they disappoint you. So you have to have a bit of everything, or know a bit of everything, or know the big players in everything, so they can act as backup for you. But you should find where your core strength is, and that's where you should play in.
Great. So tell us about Enviro Grow Farms. What makes the business unique, or what's that selling point about the business?
When we set up the business, we decided to produce using modern technology. So we do full irrigation. We press a button, all the water is sent to all the plants. All the chemicals are mixed in the bath and sent to the plants. And when we started, we made sure we had proper processes. We didn't just start at hot. We even brought in an expert agronomist to help us set up the business, and he worked with us for about 4 or 5 years to train us and to train our people. So we understand what the market needs. We go to the final consumer, get their needs. We're producing using what they call GAP, Good Agricultural Practices. So we'll make sure that everything we use is used according to how the manufacturer said it should be used. If they tell us spray chemical, but use it 10 days before harvest, we even give 12 days to make sure that the chemical is oxidized in the system. So we're producing according to the highest European standards, though we're doing export. But I believe that we don't have to wait till we export to them before we can eat good things. So as unique selling point is that we produce according to GAP, and that we understand the market very well.
So is it strictly vegetables? Is the business only for vegetables?
We do, yes, with strictly vegetables. So we do bell peppers, tomatoes, sweet corn, herbs like parsley, basil.
Great.
Okay, I feel like for some people who our viewers who are watching now, they'll say to themselves, people will always give excuses or make excuses for why they can do things that they probably did not have like a background knowledge in. For you, at the time when you ventured into this, beyond your business school would not definitely teach you everything you need to know about farming,
Yes.
right? So how have you been able to, over these years, garner enough knowledge and experience and expertise to maintain and sustain the business?
Every successful business, if you don't have the expertise, you have to pay somebody that has the expertise. So that's what we did. So when we started, we brought in an agronomist from Kenya who has been running big farms for over 20 years. So he stayed in Nigeria for about 4 years. We learned from him, and then we started going for courses. And the good thing is that this time is not like our mother's time. You can practically get all the information you want online if you know where to go look for it. So we did courses, we visited farms, we did immersion. Sometimes there's a time I went to the US and stayed and worked on a farm to understand how they do the same with my business partner. She went to Netherlands and went to see farms. So even now, I'm constantly visiting farms and learning from other people. The learning hasn't stopped.
You mentioned 2 countries that I know that one of their major exports and any potential strength is on farming, which is the Netherlands and Kenya.
Kenya, yes.
Why did you go that route?
Because they are the best. First of all, the best in vegetable production is the Netherlands. We bought our greenhouses, and our technical partner is a Dutch company. Then from Africa is Kenya. Basically, when you go to any shop abroad, you see even products of Kenya.
Yeah, their coffee.
Their
course,
coffee.
yes.
I mean, if you see their flowers, everything that's actually, most of the things that's exported to Europe is coming from Kenya. That's coming from Africa is coming from Kenya. So if you want to do something, I mean, those are my experiences I got from ExxonMobil. Go to the best and learn from them.
Don't go to
don't go to those who learn from others.
You know
go
what
to
my mommy
the
will
best.
say to you?
Yes.
Why do you need to know who knows the president when you should know the president yourself? Exactly.
So we had to go to the best to learn from them.
Oh, that's a really good strategy. A lot of people don't know about that. They're all trying to, perch somewhere, but I think that's something we can pick for today. Then we have a new reality now, which is COVID-19.
Of course.
So how has it affected your business operations, and what lessons have you learned in this short while?
Well, I'm one of those people who will say that COVID did me well.
Wow.
A lot of farmers might not be able to say that, but I did.
Oh, wow.
When COVID started, I realized, because we are bulk producers and we supply to the big supermarket chains, but I realized during that period, they will not be able to absorb what we're producing because people are not coming to the shops. So what did I do? I started direct marketing to individuals. At that point, I'm able to sell twice the price, because a wholesaler will squeeze you for price. It's a wholesaler, and it's going to have some losses. But if I'm selling directly, so I find out that even most people can do that. People in your contact, I didn't go far. I didn't build websites or anything. I started talking to people. Do you eat sweet corn? Where do you buy it from? Can I supply you? So I was able to pivot. And a lot of businesses, this period, you have to pivot your business. You can't be doing the same thing you're doing because the new normal has changed. So a lot of farmers, I've often been talking to a lot of farmers. Yes, for those who are in the rural areas, yes, it's hard for them to move their produce from there to here because of the lockdown and the rest. But for many of us who are within the Lagos metropolis, around Ijebu-Odo and Ibadan, you have to look beyond the people you used to sell to. You have to look at direct marketing now to families and to people who are consuming it.
And was that more profitable for you?
It was much more profitable for me. It helped me now. And I even have a whole lot of people I can upsell. And because of the COVID, I now even had to bet a new business, because people I was supplying like vegetables to were telling me, is there nothing else you can get for me? And because we were able to move, because we're seemed at essential services, I was now able to start sourcing. So now, from even being a producer, I'm now even having people who are doing agro for me. I'm buying from other farmers and selling even more than what I produce. And what I can't find for people, I'm even now going to source from distributors in Mile 12. So for me, COVID helped us to redefine our business. A lot of people have to look at their businesses and see, is there something much more we can do? Because the new normal is normal.
So what I love that you have found opportunities where possibly some people would see scarcity. I mean, I like the idea that one, you have even had to birth an entirely new company. So what exactly should farmers and those within the agricultural space be looking out for post-COVID-19?
You have to look at a different way of doing your business. You have to find out, because something even farmers who are selling, a lot of farmers I know who are selling things like egg couldn't sell because bakeries couldn't look at that. You have to look at people within your environment and see, okay, if I can't sell to normal people I'm selling to, who else can I sell to?
Okay.
So you have to look beyond, especially for we who are into mass production. Okay, if I can't sell my chicken fresh, can I grill it and sell to other people? Can I have a storage? If I can't sell my fish, you have to look. There's some places I never thought I would sell to, but I have to go down to sell to those people. There are some of the farmers who say, I will never carry my produce to Mile 12 and the rest. But if they're the ones buying now, you have to think about taking to them to buy for you. So you also have to look, farmers, another thing we farmers do, which is not good, to work in silos. So we need to start talking to yourself. You're selling tomato. Okay, please, while you're selling tomato, can you ask people if they also want pepper? I can give them pepper. So, because if you look at it, the big farms abroad, or when we talk about farming abroad, they form cooperatives. So even if you can't come and form a formal cooperative, within yourselves, you know what you sell. At the moment, my green peppers are not available. My bell peppers are not ready for harvest. But I have people who have bell peppers available for harvest. I'm buying from them now and sending to my customers who also need it. So we farmers have to come together and say, because some things are complementary. Somebody who's buying lettuce probably is the one who wants to buy cabbage. Probably will want bell pepper because they want to make salad. Find out who is producing that within your environment and just add all this. If you're selling chicken, find out who's selling egg, because people buying chicken probably will also need egg. So find those things and just complement yourself. So you help me and sell my chicken, I help you and sell your egg.
It has been a very interesting conversation, but we need to go on a short break now. All right, please stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this break.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
This is Plus Politics on Plus TV Africa.
There were a lot of men, but they chose me.
Parties in Nigeria, they're simply platforms of convenience for people to go and aspire for power.
If you were not awarded a contract, then why are you coming here that you are aware?
Let me explain. No, it's okay.
Some people have also accused you of talking too much.
Even if I say things, people like Obasanjo should tell us, don't say that. Not that Obasanjo will be saying, and with results that will be carrying cake to go and say, Obasanjo, stop that.
If you have your family issues, you don't discuss them in the marketplace.
Those who will take over governance after the exit of the military will be mindful of the economic deprivation of our people.
Will the cost of governance ever be reduced?
Census good, but timing has to be right.
The people who are getting the palliative right now may be the wrong people because we do not have data.
Plus Politics, 7 p.m. Mondays to Fridays on Plus TV Africa.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show. thank you for staying with us. We've been speaking with Nkiru. Nkiru, thank you for sharing all of your knowledge, you know, from how you moved from being an engineer to becoming a farmer, starting a successful business. I mean, I feel like this is one thing that a whole lot of people would need to learn from, right? So in terms of growth, what are the growth projections for the future?
Especially now we have looked, the oil sector, which was our main earner, has crashed, basically, at least for now. But people still have to eat. Our population is growing. Whether you have work or you don't have work, you eat. Whether you're in hospital or not, you eat. So people have to look at. And a lot of countries, what we have found out now, a lot of countries are closing in that they're not allowing exports. I know people who normally buy things from abroad, they're finding it hard. Everybody's looking inwards, trying to make sure they have enough food for their people. So our own people have to look at all those things that we used to import, which we could have grown. Is there an opportunity for us to start growing it instead of looking onto others to bring for us? Every country now is practicing protectionism. We have to do that because one of the biggest security issue is food security. If people don't have food, there's going to be an uprising. So our people have to look at where are those things that typically are imported and see how we can plug in and start producing it for ourselves.
Within the agricultural value chain, would you say that you see a lot of women going into that sector?
Agriculture is actually more 70% women, even in the rural. The only problem is because of land use rights. The lands are inherited from father to son. So because most women don't have land, it limits what they can do. But even if you go to the rural areas, even when you travel, most times you see it's the women. There are just particular things that men plant, like yam. But when you go to vegetables, cassava, corn, and the rest, it's women that
So is this a now thing? Do you think it's now or right from time?
It has always been like right from time. But because women don't own land, their input into farming is always less. Because you're farming at the pleasure of whoever has the land. Yes. And that is your biggest cost in farming is always the land. So it now looks like but the statistics have shown that in Nigeria, over 60% of the farmers in Nigeria are women.
Okay, so they serve as, farmers, but they don't serve as the landowners. We would, of course, give them the autonomy to do whatever it is they want to do with their land.
Yes. So they farm at the pleasure of their husband, the land he has given them, or their brother, or their father. So because of that, the decision-making they can take and the scale at which they can grow in farming is limited because of lack of land.
Okay.
Great. So what would be your advice to other women who are actually contemplating going into agriculture and don't have a clue, maybe what to do, how to start, or think it's not for them? What's your advice to them?
Spend time with those who are already in the sector. We did that. Before we started, we went and saw people who were in poultry business, who were running piggeries and all that, and find out. Don't just rush into it because everybody says it's the in thing. Go and spend time, not just one day visit. Go a couple of times. Ask them. Research yourself. Spend a day, spend a week, even do internship. It doesn't hurt because that's how you learn. Everywhere abroad, when you want to learn something, they'll tell you, go and do an unpaid internship and learn. People are willing. We farmers are always happy and willing to share knowledge. But most times, people are not ready to bring out the time to come and spend time and learn that thing. So spend time with people who are already in the industry. Ask them the difficult questions. Talk to their staff. Don't just only ask the Oga. Talk to the people who are on the ground, who are doing things. Go to the market, find out what is selling. Find out from the processors or retailers which one that they have a problem meeting their demand. Because as much as you might say that, a lot of people are producing egg, we're still not meeting the demand for egg. So find out maybe where you might play, you might just be meeting up the gap between what is produced and what is actually ends up on the table. So you must spend time with people in the industry to find out what you can do and where you can plug in.
So it's basically beyond the book knowledge and everything you learn in business school. There's still the practical knowledge where you need to go down.
The practical knowledge is something else.
That's probably the most important
that's
thing,
practically the most important thing.
Of course. So at the end of the day, with all of your experiences so far, what misconceptions do you think people usually have about female farmers?
It's a hobby. The first time I spoke to a couple of people, even my husband's friends, and when I wanted to start, they told me, is it as a hobby or is it? They can't imagine that after the amount of time my partner and I have spent in business school, we want to say we're family. So they always still come, okay, so what are you doing? You say, I'm a farmer. I say, is that all you do? Or you just do it on the side?
Think it's enough.
They don't see it as enough because of the impression or because of the conception that there's not much money as in farming.
But that's not how it is beyond Nigeria.
We have to start changing the narrative. If you remember your agricultural book, look at the farmer. He's always on a bicycle with a hoe and a singlet.
Looking very,
and the singlet always has a tear.
Yes.
So that's the conception people have about agriculture, and it hasn't changed. So it's still, they start seeing people like me talk about agriculture, that they have I can actually make money from this. It actually can be a full-time business. But if that narrative doesn't change, and they still see the farmer as that person who is dependent on government handouts, who barely can feed, we're not going to get the young people who have to enter in farming, because the older people who are into farming, a lot of them are dying off, and we need to get these young people to come into that sector. If not, we're going to have a major food security problem.
That's amazing, because what you just said, you need the younger people who have a different idea of how things can be done and all
better ways of doing things.
Then talking about misconceptions, you also said something earlier, but just looking at it now, it makes sense to be a misconception. You said, it's always been a women thing from back in the day. So a lot of people actually think agriculture is for men, but they didn't realize that it started with women back in the day.
Yes.
So from experience, would you say that there are some untapped areas in agriculture that you would want people to go into? Can you list some, if there are any?
Processing. Something like, we produce chicken. We only sell chicken as raw chicken. We don't make chicken sausages in this country. We don't have beef sausages in this country. Yeah, the hotels and the rest, everybody goes, and when we go to buy sausages in supermarkets, you find foreign names in them, but we have the raw materials. So people have to go even into other processing. I grow sweet corn, but the sweet corn most people see used to do fried rice. They go and buy the canned ones that are imported, but we're growing it here. Many of them are actually shocked that we're growing sweet corn here. So there has to be a bit of value addition, no matter how small. If you even look at the history of some of these companies, they start very small and then they keep expanding. You don't even have to do the canned one. You can do them in plastic, because even if you go to the supermarket, you have the cut fruits. The vegetables that we used to do fried rice, people still buy it, and from scratch they do it. But you can buy it in your house and cut it up and bag them and start selling. That's a value addition. A lot of young people don't want to, because if you say fried rice, you think about peeling carrots and the rest. So there are lots of, so you have to take, and even logistics. A lot of farmers, many times we're looking for, who will carry produce for us from the farm to, somebody can decide to set up a logistic company. And every farmer, like say the farmer farming in Badagry or Ikorodu, we know, every Tuesday, a truck comes here, can carry everybody's produce to Mile 12 or to Lekki or the rest. And that's just all you do, giving us cooling vans to move things. So there's logistics, there's processing, there's even input supply. Similar like feed or fertilizers or seeds that we use as inputs, improved seedlings. Somebody can decide, I want to set up a nursery. I don't want to grow. What I'm just going to do, I'm just going to keep raising pepper to 2 weeks, and people who want to plant can just come and buy it and take away the stress of doing the nursery, because we've done all the work for them.
So finally, before we let you go, because this has been a very enlightening conversation so far, what areas in agriculture would you say that people are yet to discover, but then it exists even here in Nigeria?
It exists in Nigeria. People are yet to discover it. One of them is sausage making.
Like you just said.
People need to take beef, take chicken, take pork, take every meat we have. I just give you this assignment. Apart from 1 or 2 companies in Nigeria, open all the freezers in all the supermarkets. All the meats, all the sausages are imported.
So you can imagine the market that's...
And even things like cheese. A lot of us have acquired tastes. We have a lot of pizza companies that use cheese. They're importing cheese. We have milk. We have fresh milk. They have companies who have fresh milk.
Yes.
So do something with it.
But do you think people will patronize homemade brands for things like that?
Yes, especially now with the dollar going up and people can afford it. We have no choice but to start eating local. So it's not a case of you want to, you have to.
Great.
Nkiru Okpareke, CEO, Enviro Growth. Thank you so much for joining us on Ladies Talking Business.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for staying with us on this program. Please follow us on all social media platforms for more informative and educative content of this nature. From myself and my co-host, Morami, please stay safe.
Many thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines. I am Osaogie Ogbonwa. The police in Lagos have dispersed some youths protesting against the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. The protesters are seeking the dissolution of FSAR's unit of the Nigerian Police Force. They had earlier announced that the protest would be held across Lagos for 3 days, starting from Wednesday. While dispersing them, the policemen seized their placards and allegedly assaulted some of the protesters. And protesters demanding the reformation of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad besieged the force headquarters Abuja. They sat on the Shehu Shagari Way shouting, "End SARS." They also wielded placards with the same inscription. The protesters poured red paint on the road to illustrate the killings and bloodshed by SARS operatives. The Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, says banning the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, FSARS, is not the solution to cases of extrajudicial killings by the police unit. His statement comes after the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, last week banned FSARS personnel and other tactical squads of the force from embarking on routine patrol. Senator Lawan, who stated this on Wednesday during plenary in response to a motion by Senator Oluremi Tinubu on extrajudicial killings and human rights violations by SARS operatives, said one of the solutions is to arrest and prosecute police officers who have engaged in extrajudicial killings. Federal lawmakers who debated the motion say the abuse and human rights violations by the police, particularly SARS, have reached alarming levels.
Senate is worried that despite assurances by the Inspector General of Police in 2015 and 2017 that there would be reforms of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, Nigerians are daily still being abducted and extorted under duress with no mechanism in place for complaints and resolution of same. Senate is saddened that SARS operations have degenerated into intimidation, harassment, and extortion of innocent Nigerians.
If nothing else, at least the right to the contents of your telephone is at least protected until there is a warrant for that arrest before it could be searched. But now these people have become more like extortionists, extorting money from people by going into their phones, not because they actually want to provide law enforcement, but they are looking for ways to force these people to part with money. But as that is, it is even worse that they move beyond that to want to take lives without a due process.
Those involved in the recent incidents should be arrested and prosecuted. There are good people in all the security agencies, just like there are bad people. Probably scrapping of agencies when you have mistakes may not be the solution. But I think rule of law should be the guiding principle. You do the wrong thing, you face the consequences.
And 8 persons have been killed in the gas explosion that occurred in Barua community in the Alimosho local government area of Lagos State. The explosion, which reportedly started from the best roof cooking gas, occurred around 5:45 a.m. on Thursday. The Director General, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Olufemi Oke Osaintolu, said the agency's emergency response unit had been deployed in the area, adding that the explosion razed houses, shops, and a primary school. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has said that 5 persons were killed following the gas tanker explosion in Barungwa area of Alimosho, local government area of Lagos State. The acting zonal coordinator, Southwest Zonal Office of NEMA, Ibrahim Fariloyi, confirmed this and said that 3 persons have been rescued. He said the incident occurred at 5:45 a.m. at Kandos Road, Barua, inside Lagos, when a liquefied petroleum gas tanker was in the process of discharging at the Best Roof Gas Plant station. The generator turned on triggered the explosion. The fire has been put off by officers of the Lagos State Fire Service while impact assessment by emergency response agencies was going on. And the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has commenced distribution of sensitive materials to various local government areas across the state for Saturday's election. Roads leading to the Akure office of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, were cordoned off. Security officials were present inside the CBN and on the roads leading to the bank. Still on News on the Hour, hundreds of retirees in Ekiti State have rejected a proposal from the state government on the non-payment of their accumulated outstanding gratuities by the state government. The retirees under the banner of the Nigerian Union of Pensioners came to the State Secretariat of the Union to register their grouse on certain policies of the state government. Pensioners in the state said government announced that those who retired in the state from 2012 to 2014 should report at the pensions office with their original pensions letters and other relevant documents.
The government has let us down, and it has made the union to be at the mercy of concerned pensioners. The concerned pensioners, at their meeting which was held at the State Pension State Secretariat this afternoon, they have totally rejected the offer, and they are calling for fresh negotiation.
Only for the government to print out a form telling us that you either agree on 20 to 25%, and that even with this 20%, you cannot receive anything until February 2021. It's unfair. Where in the world have we ever had that people's gratuity are on ratio? Where on?
All I know is that if you are collecting your own by February next year, you can't exceed the 15%. It cannot. I can show you that. It cannot exceed the 15%. I think that is the position of government, and that has been a decision of the governor with the Executive Council.
Joining us live is Ayo Kumakpai, the chairman, Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Ekiti State. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, good day.
Can you hear us, sir?
Yeah.
All right, brilliant. I want to ask, the explanation from the state government, do you not think it is satisfactory in any way that it is the bank contacted that is working on the 25% deduction?
Can I come?
Kindly
Hello?
go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. The issue of payment by financial instrument was being introduced by the state government to clear the areas of facilities for pensioners, which has shrunk to about 13 billion plus. We approached Mr. Governor, and he said that presently have been giving us 100 million per month. But they said according to the effect of COVID-19, the government may not be able to sustain the monthly 100 million increment. So it suggested this payment by financial institution at a discount rate of 15%. So we went into negotiation with the government, and as meeting with the governor, we pleaded that the amount should be reduced. He promised to do something about it. But when we posted this idea, it was during the COVID-19 pandemic. Immediately after the issue of the lockdown. But we are still hampered with the fact that we cannot meet for more than 20. That was why we have representatives of our members year by year who are being both gratuity. From year 2012 to year 2015, they formed the committee that were responding to government requests. We floated an opinion poll, both online and normally, and we discovered that 95% of our members, those affected members, they agreed at very discount rates to do this to Mr. Governor as the bargaining point that the 15% should be reduced. But a circular came out just yesterday that members will come and collect, the concerned members will come and collect forms. And we now find out that this arrangement has been increased to 35.
Mr. Kumakpa, kindly hold on. It's a little difficult getting to hear you clearly, so we're going to have to try and reconnect with you right after this short break. Stay with us.
This medal has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
We now start hearing the shoot of guns.
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
And welcome back to News on the Hour. We, of course, are back with a conversation with Ayo Kumakpai, the chairman, Nigerian Union of Pensioners in Ekiti State. Welcome back, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Kindly go on.
I was saying that the government was disbursing 100 million naira per month to settle areas of activity, which was around 13.2 billion. And the government realized that if we are going on that, it will take almost 20 years to settle the whole prospect due to pensioners in the state. So, in the right means, he proposed this payment by financial instrument. And negotiation was put at 50% discount. But it was surprised when members were called out to come and approve forms, and they approved the form, and the now found out that somebody have been increased to 25%. This did not go well with us.
All right. Kindly hold on, sir.
We reject the 25%.
Okay. Do you think it would be better? Mr. Kumakwayi,
Committee.
kindly hold on. I want to know if you think it would be better if you and your members get your accumulated gratuities,
Yes.
since apparently your members are getting very old. So do you think it
Yes.
would be better if you get your accumulated gratuities?
Yes. Yes. It's not only that. I want to add that this EU is voluntary. They didn't make it compulsory. It's voluntary. And our members have been approaching us. The union believes that the age of consent in this country is around 19 years. And if you have people above the age of 60, they should be able to decide for themselves what they want. We asked them, we conducted an opinion poll, normally and online, and we discovered that about 92.5 of them, they agreed in principle, but at varying degree of discount. So we took this to disagreement. In principle, we agreed to the idea, but that we would like to, the union will want a discount rate to be reduced to 50%. But what we have is that we now have a document carrying 25%. So we believe that it is a setback with negotiation. That's why we have a fresh renewed negotiation to discuss about the business.
All right. So what exactly? And we have to apologize for the poor quality of the audio. What exactly, Mr. Kumakwayi, would you say are your demands from the government as it stands? Your immediate demands?
Well, our immediate demands is that we should go back to the 15% or less, and that the time limit within the time we should submit our form before 5 weeks. We said they should give us time to report back to us. Incidentally, we met with the head of science and the Commissioner for Finance just about an hour ago, and they've assured us that the percentage discount rate now remains at what we were negotiating before, 15%. We are to hold a meeting with them next week to iron out the same problem.
Okay. All right. Ayo Kumakwayi, the chairman, Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Ekiti State. Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you very much.
Following the joint statement by the president of New Peng and Pengasan, Prince William Sakboreha and Festus Osifo, directing their members in Chevron to withdraw their services, Pengasan Lagos branch chairman Ete Oyegbari on Thursday, in an organized meeting at Chevron office to address its members, says they are now on a negotiation process with Chevron management, as such has asked staff to return to work.
We have been able to reach some form of resolution. That is thanks to the GMD of NNPC, who has been able to broker a truce between us and brought us to the negotiation table. That required that management will hold back on the process while we will return to work, and then both of us will meet to discuss and reach a possible agreement. We believe it is very workable. We agree with that resolution as people who are interested in the progress of the company and the country. Every form of resolution is welcome and every intervention is accepted because he that comes to equity must come with clean hands, and then you must be willing to show the resolve to resolve the problem. We don't want industrial crisis in our company. We only did this to make sure that we can set things right.
And now to other parts of Africa. The Ministry of Health in Kenya on Wednesday announced that 4,328 people had recovered from COVID-19, the highest number of recoveries in the country. The total recoveries now stand at 31,659. Of the 4,328 new recoveries, 4,222 patients were on home-based care and 106 were in various hospitals across the country. The Minister of Basic and Secondary Education in Gambia, Claudania Cole, on Tuesday announced the reopening of schools in Gambia. for grades 7 to 12 will reopen on the 14th of October 2020, and for preschool to grade 6, they will reopen on October 28th. The minister said her ministry is working hard to reduce the number of students in classes and to monitor education responses during this trial moment. And outside Africa, Kuwait's parliament unanimously voted on Thursday to endorse veteran security chief Sheikh Mashal Al-Ahmad as the crown prince after the new emir named him on Wednesday. Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmad Al-Sabah assumed power as emir following the death of his brother Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmad last week, at a time of tension between Kuwait's larger neighbors, Saudi Arabia and Iran, and as the government tries to shore up finances strained by low oil prices and the COVID-19 pandemic. Diplomats and analysts say that because of his low-key style and age, Emir Sheikh Nawaf, 83, may delegate a larger portion of responsibilities to the Crown Prince. And Afghanistan's top peace official, Abdullah, held talks with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi on Thursday as they tried to muster support for Afghan peace talks with the Taliban. The chairman of Afghanistan's High Council for National Reconciliation said on his official Twitter account that during their meeting, he and Modi discussed the latest developments on the Afghan peace process. Abdullah also held talks with Indian National Security Advisor Ajit Doval on Wednesday. And now in business, the World Bank in a statement on Wednesday said the pandemic compounds conflict and climate change, which were already slowing poverty reduction progress. The bank estimated that an additional 88 million to 115 million people will be pushed into extreme poverty in 2020. The estimation may rise to 115 million by 2021, depending on the severity of the economic contraction. The Biennial Poverty and Shared Prosperity Report noted that extreme poverty is likely to affect between 9.1% and 9.4% of the world's population this year. This would represent a regression to the rate of 9.2% in 2017. Still ahead is our roundup on entertainment and sports news. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, and now for some entertainment stories. The Academy has updated its Oscar rules to allow films shown in drive-in cinemas to qualify for Best Picture and General Entry categories. The new rules also state that a theatrical run of 7 days would meet the eligibility criteria. It follows their decision in April to allow films without traditional cinematics releases as long as they are uploaded to the Academy screening room. Next year's event has been delayed until 25th of April 2021 due to COVID-19. And also now in sports, Barcelona has begun a process to reduce the pay of players, coaches, and non-sporting staff to adapt to the huge losses suffered due to the COVID-19 pandemic, a club source said on Wednesday. Staff have been notified by the club on the need to reduce costs after posting a loss of 97 million euros in its annual financial report released on Monday. The Spanish Giants have been forced to hold all home matches without spectators since the pandemic began in March, destroying revenue from ticket sales. Barcelona will travel to Getafe on October 18th behind closed doors. And that's our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us. I am Osao Gie Ogbonwa.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
We are calling on all South Africans to wear a face mask whenever you leave home.
Governor of Lagos State has made the wearing of masks compulsory to fight against the coronavirus.
I want to encourage you to wear a mask wherever you go.
We will strictly ensure the mandatory use of face masks or coverings in public, in addition to maintaining physical distancing and personal hygiene.
As most countries in Africa approach ease of lockdown, one of the essential rules of leaving the house is you must wear a face mask. Entrepreneurs say the pandemic, albeit having many disadvantages, has presented opportunities as well, and one of these opportunities readily open for many is the production of face masks. Owners of garment-making factories and do-it-yourself champions have all jumped on this line of business. The question is, how efficient are these other masks compared to the initially recommended N95 respirators and surgical masks?
N95 masks are also called respirators, and they are designed to be disposable, tight-fitting to the face, creating a seal to prevent particles from getting in. And then they also have specialized filters, which filters about 95% of air particles or droplets. Cloth masks are usually not designed to fit the face, and so it doesn't really protect you from aerosols or droplets or air particles that can get into the respiratory system.
A lot of people might have no choice but to use a cloth mask due to the cost and availability of the surgical masks. And for some, it has become a fashion accessory. Whatever the case may be, it is important that it meets the requirement of a protection against any kind of droplet or fluid from and into the mouth, nose, and eyes. For the surgical mask, you use, take off, and dispose appropriately. But for the cloth masks, how do we maintain proper hygiene?
When you need to take off the mask, try not to touch the middle part. Take it off from the loops around your ears and drop it into antiseptic liquid. So if you have laundry soap, take a mixture of laundry soap, a bit of bleach, okay, and a bit of an antiseptic liquid. They have different types on the market. Make a little mixture and then drop it in. Let it sit for about 10 to 20 minutes. Pour that liquid away, make a fresh one, and then wash it and air dry. If possible, some people will say iron it. If you can, do that. Also, wash your hands. once you're done.
The Director General at NAFDAC, Professor Muji Adeyeye, encourages the use of non-medical face masks.
You mentioned that NAFDAC has announced not to use non-medical face masks. No, we did not do that. We said that non-medical face masks are for the masses, are for you and I. The medical face masks are for the healthcare workers, because there is a shortage of the medical face mask.
However, NAFDAC warns against using low-quality face masks in terms of materials used for production. Remember, face masks are to be used while maintaining measures such as social distancing, not touching the face, eyes, or mouth, and washing of hands with soap for 20 seconds or use of alcohol-based hand sanitizers. Ensure that you stay safe. Your safety is our collective safety.
Welcome to Plus Event, and yes, there is a brand new episode just for you. First on our lineup is the YouTube Music Week Virtual Hangout. YouTube held a virtual hangout, which featured top shotters in the music industry such as Pato Rankin, DJ Copy, Adekunle Gold, and Fireboy. This held from the 21st to the 27th of September, tagged the YouTube Music Week. The artists used this platform to share some of their interesting plans with their fans. In this episode, we will be showing you the virtual hangouts of DJ Copy and Adekunle Gold, respectively. DJ Copy spoke on an album titled Original Copy and the inspiration behind the album.
You know, so many people ask me why I named this album Original Copy, and I actually put it in the hands of my fans. That was really the plan. I wanted it to feel like a joint collaboration because my cupcakes have been such a big part of my journey. And I remember when a lot of people said I was better off doing everything else in the world than music. It's my cupcakes that stood by me and kept me going. So I really wanted this album to be for them. I wanted them to be proud of it. So I remember I kicked the campaign off with a choice of 4 different names, and Original Copy won by a massive majority. But a lot of people said, why is it Original Copy, C-O-P-Y? Not copy, C-U-P-P-Y. It's because original copy is an oxymoron. It's a contradiction. There is no original of a copy. And I feel like I'm very much in this African music industry as a contradiction. I feel like I'm bringing something else. I'm rewriting the rules. I'm doing what people said I shouldn't and couldn't do.
Can you tell us some of the things you had to do to prepare for the album? And then just walk us through how you actually did walk through the whole entire album.
Absolutely. So for starters, everybody knew Copy as a DJ, and it's a narrative I've been fighting and trying to recreate for a very long time. You know, I view myself as a creative, so I shouldn't be just a DJ. I shouldn't be locked up in this box. And the first thing to do was work on my other skills, including singing. You know, I just didn't feel comfortable shouting, oh, it's DJ Copy, or just taking songs from artists. I wanted to be truly part of the creative process. And, you know, shout out to Techno. He was the first person to push me and first person to really show me that I could sing on my record.
There was also an interactive session between DJ Copy and fans who commented via social media on their favorite songs in the album.
There are comments from folks just saying the songs they like. They like the Copy versus Stone Boy, and a lot of people love that one. Karma, right? Feel Good by Fireboy. That's also another one that everyone loves. They love the The Wyclef collaboration is also fantastic.
The fans also got the chance to ask their questions.
You have a lot of jokers here. Somebody said, "Copy, send me your account number." That's from Chemical Brother.
I'll send it to. Send me something. Send me money to put petrol in my Ferrari. The inspiration behind Jollof on the Jet, I kid you not, Farouk. I was flying from Accra to Lagos, got on the jet, they gave me jollof rice, I ate it, we landed, end of story. So me and Killer Tunes were on the plane together, and I was like, "Oh, Killer Tunes, we're eating jollof on the jet." It's like, "Yeah, man, jollof on the jet." Me and Rema had been talking about how we wanted to work together. So I just said to Rema, as soon as I landed, jollof on the jet.
Surprisingly, Copy engaged a fan.
I want to ask you something. I'm going to shoot the video for Feel Good and put it on YouTube. Give me one idea of what the video should be like. If I like it,
Feel
I'll do
good. Feel good. I think if you feature your Ferrari, yeah, because that's just the life. It's just you living the life and enjoying the life as it comes.
Adekunle Gold session opened up with a virtual listening of his Afro Pop Volume 1 album for everyone in attendance.
Baby, you wind up on me now. We love to see the girl wind up on me now. I did my penthouse, you can't even reach me enough right here.
During the virtual hangout, he also spoke about the transitioning of his sound.
The albums that I released, 3 albums so far, right? There's been changes. Gold was intentional, right? Everything I've done has been intentional, clearly. Right? But Gold was more high life, and that's because that was what I was really feeling back then, right? Yeah. About 30 was an upgrade, a bit more pop, and then that's because that's what I was feeling. And then I should mention that during Gold, I knew that I wanted to make About 30. I knew what I wanted the sound to be like. So, yeah, so I went into About 30 with clear intentions as well. During About 30, November 2017, I already had a name for my third album, which is Afropop. So I already knew the direction I was going with it. So, like, you can see that there's an intention, there's a progression. I knew what I wanted to do with each project.
So is there any particular difference between the old Adekunle Gold or Adekunle Gold and the new AG Baby vibe from your own perspective?
I guess I'm just more confident now. I think that's it. Nothing. Yeah, same person, just more confident. Yeah, and I say a lot more now without worrying that I might be misconstrued, Yeah, before I used to be a lot afraid about how people would perceive the kind of things that I wanted to say, how I wanted to look, but now I don't even care anymore.
That's good.
I'm just doing me.
Okay, let's do this. Amala Osemo.
Come on, Amala.
No. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Try to shorten it. Can I put iPhone in it? Can you
baby? Describe yourself in 3 words. Baby, is your name?
I think I'm chilled, creative, and then tenacious.
Okay. Good. What's your favorite movie quote, if at all you have any?
Quotes. I don't think of anyone right now.
There was a question and answer session with the fans.
She says, who else, or he or she, I don't know, but who else thinks Adekunle, AG Baby, and Simi kind of look alike?
Okay. AG Baby, yeah.
I think so too. They're getting,
Is that not normal? When you marry somebody,
it's not getting normal.
So how do you jiggle between fatherhood and music? Like, how do you do the two together?
How do I? Yeah. I mean, thank God it's not just me alone in the business, Yeah. So I get help sometimes. Why do I struggle with answering this question? Because yeah, I don't think one takes skinny. It's just when I get a chance to do music, I do music. When it's time to play with my baby, I do it. So yeah, nothing. I don't even think I've had problem at all, honestly.
Nice one.
In all, it was an amazing hangout. Up next is the Shanty Aesthetic Virtual Exhibition. Enjoy. In a world where COVID-19 has left most events virtual, creativity is a must for artists in order to stay relevant and express their art. This is evident in the case of Sylvester Aigbogun, who created a virtual art exhibition platform. The show was hosted by Eventful Limited. It unveiled how the COVID-19 pandemic has incredibly ushered a golden age of virtual media, which offers unprecedented access to some of the world's cultural touchstones, some previously financially or physically inaccessible. The exhibition, which has over 25 paintings on show, provides for art collectors to pick works that engage them in visual dialogue, from a skillful application of shades and colors that complement composite imageries. The works and displays interact with viewers. His body of work is a rich collection of expression which are categorized into 4 parts: emotions, habitats, lifestyle, and street scenes. Plus Events is happy to be a part of this initiative. Plus Event spoke to Sylvester Aigbogun, the artist of the Shanty aesthetic. He spoke about his inspiration.
2 things here. One is the idea for building a body of work with Shanty aesthetics in mind. And then the second idea was something that was born out of a collaboration with a company, Eventful Limited. They are an events company, event management company. So we do quite a bit of work together because I'm a graphics artist as well as a painter. So I do quite a bit of work with them in putting together their events. So I have a friend who works with Eventful who suggested it. He was like, look, we are all in this time of a pandemic that's possibly brought business to a halt for people like us who are businesses depend on people gathering together to hold events and all that. So when he suggested a collaboration, because he knows that I paint, I thought it was a pretty good idea, and I agreed to it.
He also spoke about the future of art exhibition.
I'm an artist and I paint, so it freed up time for me. Staying at home and for most people who were able to work from home, it didn't happen for somebody like me, because I'm a printer. And if I'm not printing, I'm practically not doing anything. So I could direct all my energy into my painting, which is what I did.
Finally, is a special package on the future of the event industry post-COVID-19. Educative, I suppose. It is no longer news that the COVID-19 pandemic has had an economic impact on many sectors and businesses. Many businesses will be forced to evolve and change strategy. Today, we'll be focusing on the event industry. How has the pandemic and lockdown impacted on events in Nigeria? From cancelled and postponed events to weddings and birthday parties. Will event planners consider going virtual?
If you're an event organizer and you haven't actually learned how to use platforms like Zoom, like YouTube Live.
Legally binding is a virtual wedding. We spoke to Abisola Ogunba.
Can be said to be legal, and there are also some laid down procedures that must be followed in its celebration. Now, in addressing this, I'm going to highlight the key provisions of the Marriage Act and compare it with the arrangement or the process of conducting an online wedding. Under the Act, a marriage may be celebrated at the marriage registry or a licensed place of worship. Now, this is extremely important as the Act is specific about the physical location where the marriage is celebrated, and that is why it is often stated that before you get married in a church, ensure that your church is a licensed place of worship, as not all churches are licensed to celebrate marriages. Now, couples who have explored online weddings may want to argue that the physical location is not the internet, but the physical location is their home. Well, that's interesting, but I'd like to avert their mind to Section 23 of the Marriage Act, which specifically states that no minister shall celebrate a marriage in a building that has not been licensed. Now, the effect of this is if you celebrate a marriage in your home, but that particular location or building has not been duly licensed or approval has not been obtained in respect of that location, then a minister should not celebrate a marriage in such location. And this is the same reason why couples cannot just go to the beach or to a garden to celebrate their marriage. Another crucial point to note as it relates to why online wedding is not valid or recognized under the Marriage Act is the provision of the Act that stipulates that during the celebration of the marriage, the officiant or the minister must be physically present, and there must also be at least 2 witnesses physically present during the celebration of the marriage. Correctional measures that I would advise for any couple who has conducted an online wedding already is that they should go to the marriage registry and apply and follow the due process of how a marriage ought to be celebrated. My advice to people who are eager to get married or who want to explore the video conference app by getting married online is that they should seek the necessary legal advice. So if you're unfamiliar with a particular arrangement, seek the legal advice so that you can be aware of the legal implications. The couples can also reach out to the marriage registry, maybe send a mail or put a call through. And the interesting thing is the whole process of application can actually be done online. Yes, it is possible to make virtual weddings legal in the future. Nothing is impossible, and the world is evolving. I read somewhere that the United Arab Emirates now has online wedding service for couple who intends to get married. I also read somewhere that the New York governor also signed an executive order for couples to conduct their wedding online. So yes, it is very possible. If other countries are doing it, it's just a matter of time. Nigeria might soon explore that alternative too.
We also know that the government is strict on these orders and restrictions of social gathering, as was evident in the case of Funke Akindele and husband JJC Skills. We spoke to event professionals about the future of the Nigerian event industry post-COVID-19, and here are the things they had to say.
So the future of the event industry, I would say post-COVID, is first of all very, very uncertain, because we are living in a time that is actually uncertain. So the future of the events industry is dependent on many, many factors. It's dependent on how quickly a vaccine is found. It's dependent on how we can stop the spread. It's dependent on how we can ensure that we bring in a lot of health and safety to our events. It depends on how one can, think of new things to do or how well to do our events. So the future of the events industry, definitely post-COVID, is an industry that will survive, but with a lot of changes, in it.
So choose a platform first. Pick a place. So you want to do it on YouTube or you want to do it on Zoom, whatever it is you want to. Just pick a platform. Once you pick a platform, then try to pick a very nice name for it. Then if you're going to have a host, try to, identify who is the host and who can do this well, or who has been doing this hosting thing very well and understands how it works. Then you can now have your guests too on the side as well. On platform like Zoom, it allows you to actually build like a registration within your webinar or your event. So you can build like a registration link that you can share with people. So if you have like a WhatsApp group or a WhatsApp community, or you want to just go ahead and use media platforms or social media to get your guests to attend that event, then you can then push the link all over the social media pages, get influencers to push your link, or hire a PR firm. Yes, and towards the event, you can send newsletter to people. Don't just keep quiet and wait to the event. Check out the list of people that have signed up. Send them an email and say, oh, thank you for signing up. We can't wait to have you join us. Things like that. Then 3 days to go. Oh, 3 days to go. We can't wait to join. We can't wait for you to join us. We're counting that. We're so excited, and we hope you are excited as well. 2 days to go. You do the same. 1 day to go. You can, shoot them the video of one of the speakers and say, oh, this person is so excited about this event. We can't wait to see you as well. So that they are all in tune. Then when the event day is around the corner, there's a way you can mute everybody so that, because on the Zoom platform, there's so many people that don't mute themselves. So you have to use the mute all button and mute everybody. So if people want to speak or you have room for question, then you can then unmute people and have them raise their hands. They can even raise their hands and also use the chat bar.
I think that it's very clear that social events will never be the same again. There's no doubt about that. Things are definitely gonna change. I mean, there'll be lots of government restrictions in place. People are going to be careful about how they contact people, because until we get a vaccine for COVID-19, which is at least a year away, we know that we are still going to have the possibility of being infected by people. So, when we look at how we're going to manage advice going forward, we're going to have to put a number of things into place as event organizers. For example, we're going to have to make sure that sanitation is very good. So we have sanitizers in place. We make sure that we keep social distancing as much as possible. We're going to have to make sure that we do proper registration of all vendors and all guests. So in case we have to do contact tracing. And we're going to have to make sure that we actually check that those phone numbers do exist. Because as you do know, a part of the problem that the government has been happening is that people have been putting down fake or false phone numbers. So it's been very hard to track people down. We're going to have to spend more on sanitizers, possibly surgical masks available for the vendors, particularly people that are doing food and stuff like that. We're also going to have to make sure organizers and participants are actively aware of what we're going to be doing and sign up to it. So they have informed their guests in advance that we will be requiring your contact details in case of contact tracing. Whilst we do events, we're also going to need to make sure that we have a room in case we notice that somebody has been sick or may look like they have COVID, so that we can isolate them. We'll have emergency numbers on hand for things like isolation centers and stuff like that. There's so many different things that we're going to have to do in terms of managing the event. We may also have to say that we're going to restrict numbers. Even if the government doesn't do it, if we still feel that COVID-19 is still very active within Nigeria, we may have to say that we will not manage events that are more than 100 people, 500 people, whatever the number may be, that will be manageable. We will have to do all those things. Do you understand?
The finances of event organizers has definitely been affected. And how? First of all, you projected, when we all came into 2020, we all had a projection for 2020. We all had the revenue. We all planned it. You planned this certain number of amount of events, or you organize this, or you do this. Definitely, because of that, our revenue has been cut short. You are forced to spend more because you are not earning as much as you would. So you are now probably dipping into your cash flow, your savings, and if you didn't save, or you didn't have a cash flow balance, right, where it was positive, those people will be suffering. So it has definitely affected some people's finances, people that didn't save, people that didn't have like a 6 months or a year or 2 years savings for, just in case anything happens to the business. How do we get paid? How do we pay our staff? Those finances have been affected, because don't forget that our industry, for some people, it's very project based. Some people get paid per event. So if you get paid per event, or you get paid per events that you're organizing, sometimes you might not have been able to save. So it's definitely affected the finances of event professionals.
The word that I have for all event planner is that there's a reason why you started this business. You did not start this business for safety or comfort. You started this business for a greater reason, and now is the time to go back to the reason why you started. To be honest, there is nothing more resilient in the world than to see an entrepreneur who keeps moving and going with the belief that the light will come. So I just want to implore everyone to keep going. If it takes you to pivot your business, please pivot your business. If it takes you to do the extraordinary, please do the extraordinary. If it takes you to invest in yourself, please invest in yourself. This is the time. Trust me, this is the time.
To all event planners, I would say to all of us, and I'm here with you, is that we are in uncertain times, and this is a time that is happening to everybody all over the world. So we're not unique and we're not different. It's affected some businesses badly. The hospitality, event, entertainment, and tourism industry has been badly hit. But guess what? This is forcing us to pause, remain calm, have clarity in our business, look at our business properly, look at our business model, look at what we're doing right, look at what we're doing wrong, look at new ways of doing things that we've always actually thought it had to be done a certain way. So this is a time, of course, to leverage technology, as we all know. This is a time to build on relationships. This is a time to collaborate more. This is a time to look inwards. This is a time to pause. This is a time to reflect. But at the same time, while you're pausing and reflecting, don't do it too, don't reflect and pause for too long. Look for new ways of doing things. And it will be okay. It will be okay. Because I know that a lot of us are also afraid. It will be okay. I believe that God is with us, and God is certain in the time of uncertainty. So it will be fine.
Considering the directive of the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on the 29th of April 2020, that all event centers should remain closed until further notice.
All entertainment centers such as event centers, cinemas, arcade, bars, casinos, day clubs, nightclubs, beaches will remain closed till further notice.
Will the virtual world become the future of events, or will things go back to normal and social gathering return? Guess we will find out post-COVID-19. Ifeoluwa Oshunke for Plus TV Africa. Hope you had fun joining us on the show. Until next week, follow all our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all at Plus TV Africa. Au revoir.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. From the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Many thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines. I am Osaogie Ogbonwa. The police in Lagos have dispersed some youths protesting against the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. The protesters are seeking the dissolution of FSAR's unit of the Nigerian Police Force. They had earlier announced that the protest would be held across Lagos for 3 days, starting from Wednesday. While dispersing them, the policemen seized their placards and allegedly assaulted some of the protesters. And protesters demanding the reformation of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad besieged the force headquarters Abuja. They sat on the Shehu Shagari Way shouting, "End SARS." They also wielded placards with the same inscription. The protesters poured red paint on the road to illustrate the killings and bloodshed by SARS operatives. The Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, says banning the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, FSARS, is not the solution to cases of extrajudicial killings by the police unit. His statement comes after the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, last week banned FSARS personnel and other tactical squads of the force from embarking on routine patrol. Senator Lawan, who stated this on Wednesday during plenary in response to a motion by Senator Oluremi Tinubu on extrajudicial killings and human rights violations by SARS operatives, said one of the solutions is to arrest and prosecute police officers who have engaged in extrajudicial killings. Federal lawmakers who debated the motion say the abuse and human rights violations by the police, particularly SARS, have reached alarming levels.
Senate is worried that despite assurances by the Inspector General of Police in 2015 and 2017 that there would be reforms of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, Nigerians are daily still being abducted and extorted under duress with no mechanism in place for complaints and resolution of same. Senate is saddened that SARS operations have degenerated into intimidation, harassment, and extortion of innocent Nigerians.
If nothing else, at least the right to the contents of your telephone is at least protected until there is a warrant for that arrest before it could be searched. But now these people have become more like extortionists, extorting money from people by going into their phones, not because they actually want to provide law enforcement, but they are looking for ways to force these people to part with money. But as that is, it is even worse that they move beyond that to want to take lives without a due process.
Those involved in the recent incidents should be arrested and prosecuted. There are good people in all the security agencies, just like there are bad people. Probably scrapping of agencies when you have mistakes may not be the solution. But I think rule of law should be the guiding principle. You do the wrong thing, you face the consequences.
And 8 persons have been killed in the gas explosion that occurred in Barua community in the Alimosho local government area of Lagos State. The explosion, which reportedly started from the best roof cooking gas, occurred around 5:45 a.m. on Thursday. The Director General, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Olufemi Oke Osayintolu, said the agency's emergency response unit had been deployed in the area, adding that the explosion razed houses, shops, and a primary school. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has said that 5 persons were killed following the gas tanker explosion in Barungwa area of Alimosho, local government area of Lagos State. The acting zonal coordinator, Southwest Zonal Office of NEMA, Ibrahim Fariloi, confirmed this and said that 3 persons have been rescued. He said the incident occurred at 5:45 a.m. at Kandos Road, Barua, inside Lagos, when a liquefied petroleum gas tanker was in the process of discharging at the Best Roof Gas Plant station. The generator turned on triggered the explosion. The fire has been put off by officers of the Lagos State Fire Service while impact assessment by emergency response agencies was going on. And the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has commenced distribution of sensitive materials to various local government areas across the state for Saturday's election. Roads leading to the Akure office of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, were cordoned off. Security officials were present inside the CBN and on the roads leading to the bank. Still on News on the Hour, hundreds of retirees in Ekiti State have rejected a proposal from the state government on the non-payment of their accumulated outstanding gratuities by the state government. The retirees under the banner of the Nigerian Union of Pensioners came to the State Secretariat of the Union to register their grouse on certain policies of the state government. Pensioners in the state said government announced that those who retired in the state from 2012 to 2014 should report at the pensions office with their original pensions letters and other relevant documents.
The government has let us down, and it has made the union to be at the mercy of concerned pensioners. The concerned pensioners, at their meeting which was held at the state pensioner state secretariat this afternoon, they have totally rejected the offer, and they are calling for fresh negotiation.
Only for the government to print out a form telling us that you either agree on 20 to 25%, and that even with this 20%, you cannot receive anything until February 2021. It's unfair. Where in the world have we ever had that people's gratuity are on ratio? Where on?
All I know is that if you are collecting your own by February next year, you can't exceed the 15%. It cannot. I can show you that. It cannot exceed the 15%. I think that is the position of government. And that has been a decision of the governor with the Executive Council.
Joining us live is Ayo Kumakbayi, the Chairman, Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Ekiti State. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, good day.
Can you hear us, sir?
Yeah.
All right, brilliant. I want to ask, the explanation from the state government, do you not think it is satisfactory in any way that it is the bank contacted that is working on the 25% deduction?
Can I come?
Kindly
Hello?
go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. The issue of payment by financial instrument was being introduced by the state government to clear the areas of gratuities for pensioners, which has come to about 13 billion plus. We approached Mr. Governor, and he said that presently at the beginning of 100 million per month. But he said according to the effect of COVID-19, the government will not be able to to sustain the monthly 100 million payment. So it suggested this payment by financial institution at a discount rate of 15%. So we went into negotiation with the government, and as meeting with the governor, we pleaded that the amount should be reduced. He promised to do something about it. But when we posted this idea, it was done before the COVID-19 pandemic. Immediately after the receipt, the issue of the lockdown. But we are still hampered with the fact that we cannot meet for more than 20. That was why we have representatives of our members year by year who are being both gratuity. From year 2012 to year 2015, they formed the committee that were responding to government requests. We floated an opinion poll, both online and normally, and we discovered that 90.5% of our members, those affected members, they agreed at very distant rates to do this to Mr. Governor at the bargaining point that the 15% should be reduced. But a circular came out just yesterday that members will come and collect, the concerned members will come and collect forms. And we now find out the document that this arrangement has been increased to 35. The government was disbursing 100 million naira per month to settle areas of activity, which was around 13.2 billion. And the government realized that if we are going on that, it will take almost 20 years to settle the whole disbursement bill to pensioners in the state. So in the right means, he proposed this payment by financial instrument, and negotiation was at 50% discount. But we were surprised when members were called out to come and approve forms, and they approved the form, and the now found that somebody have been increased to 25%. This did not go well with us.
All right.
That's why
Kindly hold on, sir.
We reject the 25%.
Okay. Do you think it would be better, Mr. Kumakpai, kindly hold on. I want to know if you think it would be better if you and your members get your accumulated gratuities,
Yes.
since apparently your members are getting very old. So do you think it would be better if you get your accumulated gratuities?
Yes. Yes. It's not only that. I want to add that this issue is voluntary. They didn't make it compulsory, it's voluntary. And our members have been approaching us. The union believes that the age of consent in this country is around 19 years. And if you have people above the age of 60, they should be able to decide for themselves what they want. We asked them, we conducted an opinion poll, normally and online, and we discovered that about 92.5% of them they agreed in principle, but at very degree of discount. So we took this to Mr. Governor. In principle, we agreed to the idea, but that we would like to, the union will want the discount rate to be reduced to 50%. But what we have is that we now have the document carrying 25%. So we believe that it is a setback with negotiation. That's why we have a fresh renewed negotiation to discuss about the discourse.
All right, so what exactly, and we have to apologize for the poor quality of the audio. What exactly, Mr. Kumakpai, would you say are your demands from the government as it stands, your immediate demands?
Well, our immediate demands is that we should go back to the to 15% or less, and that the time limit within the time we should submit our form before 5 weeks. We said they should give us time to report back to us. Incidentally, we met with the head of science and the commissioner for finance just about an hour ago, and they've assured us that the percentage discount rate now remains at what we were negotiating before, 15%. We are to hold a meeting with them next week to iron out the same problem.
Okay. All right. Ayo Kumakpai, the chairman, Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Ekiti State. Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you very much.
Following the joint statement by the president of New Peng and Pengasan, Prince William Zakboreha and Festus Osifo, directing their members in Chevron to withdraw their services, Pengasan Lagos branch chairman Ete Oyegbari on Thursday, in an organized meeting at Chevron office to address its members, says they are now on a negotiation process with Chevron management, as such has asked staff to return to work.
We have been able to reach some form of resolution. That is thanks to the GMD of NNPC, who has been able to broker a truce between us and brought us to the negotiation table. That required that management will hold back on the process while we will return to work, and then both of us will meet to discuss and reach a possible agreement. We believe it is very workable. We agree with that resolution as people who are interested in the progress of the company and the country. Every form of resolution is welcome and every intervention is accepted because he that comes to equity must come with clean hands, and then you must be willing to show the resolve to resolve the problem. We don't want industrial crisis in our company. We only did this to make sure that we can set things right.
And now to other parts of Africa. The Ministry of Health in Kenya on Wednesday announced that 4,328 people had recovered from COVID-19, the highest number of recoveries in the country. The total recoveries now stand at 31,659. Of the 4,328 new recoveries, 4,222 patients were on home-based care and 106 were in various hospitals across the country. The Minister of Basic and Secondary Education in Gambia, Claudania Cole, on Tuesday announced the reopening of schools in Gambia. For grades 7 to 12 will reopen on the 14th of October 2020, and for preschool to grade 6, they will reopen on October 28th. The minister said her ministry is working hard to reduce the number of students in classes and to monitor education responses during this trial moment. And outside Africa, Kuwait's parliament unanimously voted on Thursday to endorse veteran security chief Sheikh Mashal Al-Ahmad as the crown prince after the new emir named him on Wednesday. Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmad Al-Sabah assumed power as emir following the death of his brother Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmad last week, at a time of tension between Kuwait's larger neighbors, Saudi Arabia and Iran, and as the government tries to shore up finances strained by low oil prices and the COVID-19 pandemic. Diplomats and analysts say that because of his low-key style and age, Emir Sheikh Nawaf, 83, may delegate a larger portion of responsibilities to the Crown Prince. And Afghanistan's top peace official, Abdullah, held talks with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi on Thursday as they tried to muster support for Afghan peace talks with the Taliban. The chairman of Afghanistan's High Council for National Reconciliation said on his official Twitter account that during their meeting, he and Modi discussed the latest developments on the Afghan peace process. Abdullah also held talks with Indian National Security Advisor Ajit Doval on Wednesday. And now in business, the World Bank in a statement on Wednesday said the pandemic compounds conflict and climate change, which were already slowing poverty reduction progress. The bank estimated that an additional 88 million to 115 million people will be pushed into extreme poverty in 2020. The estimation may rise to 115 million by 2021, depending on the severity of the economic contraction. The Biennial Poverty and Shared Prosperity Report noted that extreme poverty is likely to affect between 9.1% and 9.4% of the world's population this year. This would represent a regression to the rate of 9.2% in 2017. Still ahead is our roundup on entertainment and sports news. We'll be back in a moment.
We can't talk about education reform if we don't decolonize our education system.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize. Because it's just cultural. And I think it's just human nature.
They stop paying us salary. I don't like remembering it.
I am angry at Nigeria. I'm angry at this government which seems to be letting us down. I'm angry at us as a people.
In the process of struggling to free myself from his hand, he tore my pants and he raped me.
Yes, I commit offense truly.
Young girl, do you know where you are going? I say, I'm going to America. I say, now so that they talk, you are going to Libya. Which America?
As they do mark our place, some people they die now.
This is Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
First thing first, Africa is blessed with very, very rich history.
How can we be in Lagos and we do not have alternative means of transportation?
I mean, if only Nigerian youths could channel that same energy they give to reality TV shows to politics, hey, we'll have reached the promised land by now.
Politics is very expensive in Nigeria and poverty is weaponized.
Why do you want to feed children who are already with their parents?
Children you didn't feed while
they were in school. They did it in Lagos and Abuja. What about the rest of the country?
Part of the reason that problem we've been having in Nigeria here is that the big men are not, we don't see them being punished. They should make example of people like this. Whoever is behind this scandal, if it's the minister should be punished severely. Youth, if you want leadership, you have to start working now.
The biggest challenge for our generation is here. COVID-19 has altered the way we live in unprecedented ways. The only way to win in a crisis like this is to separate fact from falsehood, separate science from superstition, to get crucial information on how to live in a COVID-19 infected world. Join Stanley Bentu on Stay Safe, coming your way on Mondays and Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. on Plus TV.
Welcome back, and now for some entertainment stories. The Academy has updated its Oscar rules to allow films shown in drive-in cinemas to qualify for Best Picture and General Entry categories. The new rules also state that a theatrical run of 7 days would meet the eligibility criteria. It follows their decision in April to allow films without traditional cinematics releases as long as they are uploaded to the Academy screening room. Next year's event has been delayed until 25th of April 2021 due to COVID-19. And also now in sports, Barcelona has begun a process to reduce the pay of players, coaches, and non-sporting staff to adapt to the huge losses suffered due to the COVID-19 pandemic, a club source said on Wednesday. Staff have been notified by the club on the need to reduce costs after posting a loss of 97 million euros in its annual financial report released on Monday. The Spanish Giants have been forced to hold all home matches without spectators since the pandemic began in March, destroying revenue from ticket sales. Barcelona will travel to Getafe on October 18th behind closed doors. And that's our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do join us. I am Osao Gie Ogbonwa.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years. 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
that people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Quality wire, and quality cables. For quality wire, quality cables. Coleman will light up your life, brother, sister. Original quality wire, with the can't pay. Cable for any type of project. Delay. Light up your life, light up your house. Light up your life, Coleman, who be the master for cable? Who be the master for wire? Original quality cable. When you feature for any kind of project, original quality, durable, trustable.
Nigeria is sometimes misrepresented in the media. We get a lot of backlash when a small percentage of Nigerians commit crime or get into trouble. So, we are here to shine the light on some Nigerians in diaspora, making the motherland proud. Akinwumi Additional. Akinwumi Additional is the 8th elected president of the African Development Bank, AFDB. He was first elected to the position on May 28, 2015. He also secured a second term in the position in 2020 after battling allegations of corruption. Additional is a globally renowned development economist and agricultural development expert with over 30 years of international experience. He graduated with a bachelor's degree in agricultural economics from the University of Ile-Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, in 1981. He won the prestigious Rockefeller Foundation Social Science Fellowship Award in 1988, which launched his international career. Perlina Ibokwe. Perlina Ibokwe is the first black and Nigerian woman to become the chairman of a big American outfit, Universal Studio Group. Ibokwe was born in Nigeria in the 1960s and lived with her family in the village, which was affected by bomber planes during the Nigerian Civil War, and moved to the United States at the age of 6. She earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from Yale University and an MBA from Columbia University. Before her recent appointment, she was the head of the television arm of the company, a position no black woman has held before her. She worked at Showtime for 20 years, where she was involved in television shows such as Dexter, Masters of Sex, Nurse Jackie, State of the Union, The Underground, Soul Food, and more. Kelechi Madu. Kelechi Madu, also known as Casey, is a Nigerian lawyer who is the first black man and also Nigerian to be named a Minister of Justice in Alberta, Canada. Before his recent appointment, he was a member of the Legislative Assembly of the province representing the district of Edmonton South after winning the 2019 Alberta general election. In 2019, including legal expertise, 2005. In 2006, she was named by Forbes magazine as one of the most powerful women in the world. She is currently a candidate for the position of the Director General of the World Trade Organization. To these individuals and many more Nigerians breaking records, we say the motherland is proud of you.
It is your show, not your 9 to 5, where we tell incredible stories of individuals who left their primary disciplines and ventured into something else, which is not necessarily your regular 9 to 5. Today we are telling the story of Olubusola Mada, who left the walls of banking industry to become a maker and producer of apparels, customized apparels at that. Listen to our story in a bit.
My name is Olubusola Mada. I studied accounting in school and, well, I was a banker for 7.5 years. All through my banking career, I was also doing my business by the side. Not until last year, July 26th precisely. That was my last day being a banker, and here's what I do now. I make clothes, I make children's clothes, I make urban apparel, t-shirts, hoodies, joggers. This is my world. Whatever it is, if it is creativity, fun, happiness, you come here. I left my banking career and I've been doing this full time. My experience, well, there's been ups and downs. It's been fun and it's been challenging, especially because this is the first time in my life that I have to totally concentrate and do a customer-facing job. While I was in the banking industry, I worked at the head office all through my banking career, and I never really had to interact so much with customers. But now, I have to take customers' orders, I have to arrange customers' orders, send them down, it comes back to me, sort them, dispatch, get customers' feedback. So right now, I am like the old face of the business, which is very new to me. So it's been a learning phase. I'm still learning, and I'm open to more learning because, well, to keep this place running, we have to face customers. We have to do this. So, well, as much as possible, we try to reduce our costs so that our prices are not too high for our customers. So our packaging materials are actually produced by us. So we just go ahead and, so we bought a lot of papers and we do it by ourselves. So we just go ahead and use gums. So we just go ahead and use gums to like glue them together. So we have t-shirts here. So I don't know if I've told you, we do all these things. Okay, so this one is for a customer. They are yet to pick it up. So we do t-shirts and all those things for families as well. So we do children, we do adults, we do all sexes. So this is for dad. It says I'm dad, I don't care. So the other ones, so for the mom, we decided to jazz it up a bit with glitters, and mom says that I make the rules and dad says that I don't care. So we like to put a lot of creativity and sarcasm in producing our designs. So, well, I told you also that we do children's clothes as well. We have various types of outfits for children. So these are shorts with a little suspenders in front. So we have very cute outfits for children. We still have them. And we also do things with Ankara as well. We are Nigerians, we are. The challenges really come from the fact that you have to keep the place running. You have to make sure that you have jobs to do. You have to make sure that the cost is really low so that you can have enough to plow back into the business and at the same time pay salary. You have to make sure that you're managing your customers and you have as much visibility as possible on social media, you know, and you have to manage everybody. You have to manage the people who are working with you. You have to manage customers. You have to manage the vendors that you're working with. For instance, your dispatch guys. Any mistake can spoil everything, and at the end of the day, customer is not happy. When customer is not happy, you don't make money. So it's a small box that comprises so many things, and at times you feel dragged, like so many things. But it's really interesting, actually. It's really interesting. I won't call it challenging. I'll say it's really, really interesting. I won't say that my life as a banker is better than this, or that this is better than that. I would just say that at different points in our lifetime, we are wired to do different things. So back then, I was already doing this as a side also. And as at that time, at the 24th of the month, I know that something is coming into my pocket. But right now, I always know that the 24th of the month, we need to pay salary. The company needs to pay salary. So even if we don't even have it at that time, I have to look for every means, get jobs, chat friends, and so that at least we can have something to pay at that time of the month. So it's a totally different lifestyle. At the point in my career, I felt that I had done it all, as in I had given my all to the banking system. And I felt that if I stayed there longer, there's really nothing so much of me, and I'm missing out on the next level of my life. So I thought, okay, how about, this is something I've been doing for a while, how about I give it a try. I've learned so much in the banking industry, and I've learned so much from my mentors, I've learned so much from school. So why don't I put all the learnings together and then create something out of it? So these kind of things give me, as it makes me happy. So for instance, customers have been asking for another pattern on their reversible masks, and they said they wanted something that goes round. That goes round the neck. This is the first sample we'll be doing. We just cut this right here while you're here, and this is what we have come up with. We'll keep practicing until we get it right. So this is the first one, and let me show you. We are not there yet. Okay, so we're almost close. We're almost close. By the time we do the third, fourth, and the fifth one, I'm sure it will be perfect. So this is why I said I want to do this full time, because it makes me happy. What excites me most about the business is the creative part of it. The fact that you piece different things together and it comes to a whole. It's really fun. It's invigorating, and the best part of it is when you now see the results. So that's why most of the time I like to print, because you just put different pieces together and a beautiful picture jumps at you. So it's really exciting, actually, it is.
I've been working with McMadden since 2014. I love this job, and I believe in future I want to have a fashion home just like this.
My 9-to-5 job. I won't say for certain that I will not go back to my 9-to-5 job, because I don't know which circumstances I will find myself in the next 6 months or 2 years or 3 years. But if you ask me now, will I go back to my 9-to-5 job? Like now, the way I feel now, I will tell you for certain, no. At least not at this point in my life. It's not an option at this point in my life. Hey, this is not a regular 9-to-5, but this is my life. It's my life. My name is Olubusola Mada.
can I go out with you and Mommy tonight?
Sure thing, sweetie. Get your shoes and we go.
Promise?
You have my word.
Daddy!
You know I wouldn't leave without you, my princess.
Stay safe. Maintain social distance. We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
Today's top stories are
And the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria.
I'm here at Yunus Bashorin Street where
the fire destroyed our transformer complete.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
I still make music and people are still buying. That's why they look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
Sleeping early.
Here are the things to do to avoid getting or spreading the coronavirus. Always wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water. Carry with you and use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer at all times. Avoid touching your face unnecessarily. When you cough or sneeze, do so in a bent elbow and not in your hands. If you cough or sneeze on a tissue, dispose immediately. Endeavor to wear a face mask when you go out. Dispose of the face mask properly after use. Should you feel unwell and show symptoms, call the NCDC and follow their instructions. Stay safe. Maintain social distance. Fidelity cares about you.
And in this episode, we are meeting with Juliet Aigbe. Juliet Aigbe has been in the IT world for 3 years, and even with experience in oil and gas as a liaison officer between the company and oil-producing communities. And she left all of this to begin what she is passionate about, which is confectionaries and baking. And today, we are at her premises to have a conversation.
Okay, I would say I moved from 9 to 5 because I didn't essentially leave IT.
Right.
It's always a part of life, especially now that we're in this COVID era, those things really come to bear. So I never really left IT. I just kind of had a paradigm shift in how I was going to express my individuality. So I've always been the kind of person that has independent thoughts and opinion. And so that drove me to discovering myself and in becoming more self-aware about my proclivities, my passion, what drives me. I think I found a fuller expression in sugar crafting, and that's why I'm here. sometimes I feel like it's a curse because there's this illusion that, oh, you want to be your own boss and then you want to, make things happen. I think the beauty or the blessing there is just being able to create. I think essentially that's the high points of entrepreneurship for me, creating something from nothing, evolving and putting substance to a dream, So that for me is, I'll say, the blessing. But in terms of being in it, it's so good that I probably didn't even see how the journey is going to be. Because if I did, I probably would just remain my 9 to 5, which was more a cushier environment than here, which feels like a jungle, So you just have to know your onions and know what you're doing. And another thing, why I transitioned into sugar crafting is, if you check the global Dream Index, the survey was carried out to see people who really fulfill their dreams. 50% of women don't pursue what they're really passionate about. Maybe you're told to go and study medicine or I think there was a particular place I watched where they said, oh, it's supposed to be 3 things, either a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, or a disgrace to the family. Like anything outside of those 3, it's like a disgrace. I actually went through that. You mean after all the education, you worked in, I can't call the company. You're going to start doing cakes? What's the point? It's sending you to school because our parents had this artisanal thinking that if you're an artisan, you're a second-tier kind of person, and everything. Or if it's a blue-collar kind of work, it's not really that prestigious like a white-collar job. I think that's a colonial construct because they come, tell you what to do, but there's no full expression. If you check even industrialized nations, you see people who actually make a difference are those who invent things, who create things, who solve problems. And I think the entrepreneur has that streak in him or her that says, I want to solve a problem. And that's what drives you. And that's why when you have all the challenges, you don't say, oh, I wish I'm back in my 9 to 5. I never regret making this transition. I don't work 9 to 5. I work crazier hours. I work 6 to 6. As in 24/7. You're thinking, even when you're dreaming the next task, So it's always like being driven by passion, being driven by a problem that needs to get solved. And that's why I say, I won't trade this for anything else. Even if I move on from cake making, because right now we don't just do cakes, we also do cake mixes, and then we train people. And I think I have the reformer streak in me where I'm looking at what is happening in the food sector right now. There's a lot of carcinogenic additives that are used to enhance production processes just to increase yield and profitability, and they're very harmful and injurious to people's health. So I am taking that as my own advocacy project. You know what? We can actually have baked goods in this sector, in the industry, without falsifying them with additives that are harmful to the body, especially now during this COVID-19 era where people are dying of underlying health issues. I'm looking critically at what kind of baked goods can they eat where they don't have to worry about their health or worry about side effects. And that's why our products in the market right now solve those problems. Talking about challenges, one of the things that we encounter in running our business is power supply, and that's our generator there. Without it, we really can't make this work. And so it's one of the big headaches we have in this sector. We're hoping that things will improve drastically and then we can, make more progress in Nigeria. So we're going to go inside right now. However, no mask, no entry. Another challenge, we all go through challenges in life and in the business as well. Another challenge that we have is ease of doing business. A lot of times you don't get the right kind of information. Then government policies also keep changing. There was a time when tariff on wheat importation was escalated and it became like 20% increase on that tariff. That really affected the cost of production in terms of raw materials and access to materials. So that's the unstable economic environment is a challenge as well. And then manpower. Sometimes you don't want to go through what they call high key man risk. You want to be able to break down your operational processes to be able to accommodate this high key man risk factor. So what we've just done is to overcome that challenge is to put in place a turnkey model that breaks up a particular task into, or let me say, demystify the process. So if for example, I have a decorator or a baker, we just break up the the tasks assigned so that we know who does what, and that way it's easy to scale up, you know. And so one of the things we're also able to do to overcome this challenge is we have our cake mixes where we don't need power supply to produce it. The new normal is to bake at home, because during the lockdown, a lot of people could not really go out to order cakes or see what they want. So either they shop online and like, you know what, let me just pick up a skill of baking. Now I have time on my hands. Most of the excuse people give is, oh, I don't have time to bake. I can't use my oven. I'm sure 80% of ovens in Nigeria are not even utilized. So with the cake mix, you're able to actually go down from your gas cooker to the oven space and use it. So it's been a very interesting journey, expanding our product offering from just decorated cakes. And we have two types of decorated cakes. We have the made to stock, the ones that you come and pick on the shelf, and then we have the made to measure or the made to order, the ones that are signature or specialty for special occasions. And I'm moving from that, or expanding further into cake mixes where you don't have to be a professional baker to bake your cake. What we've done is we've packaged the premix in a way that you just open the pack, pour into your bowl, add the wet ingredients like your eggs and vegetable oil and water, and then stir, pour into your baking pan. It goes straight into your oven that you hardly used, and then in less than 30 minutes, a cake comes out. And you know, it just, there's an emotional high you get from being able to bake your own cake, that, oh, me finally I can bake a cake by myself. And even kids can be fully engaged also using the cake mixes, because they build confidence in that, oh, I baked that cake. Did you see that chocolate cake? I baked it, you know. It's almost like you want to impress your loved ones about, you know, how you can bake a cake. So for me, that's emotional high that you get, you know, from baking with the cake mix. It's something that is so unique that you don't get from even buying a decorated cake, you know. You can say, oh, my cake is pretty, but when you bake it yourself, you know, happiness comes to you because you created something with your hands. And so that's how you become happy, when you create things with your hands and you can see it. And people are like, oh, wow, this is really nice. This looks really good. And it tastes fantastic too. I'm like, oh, that's my cake. So it's like trying to bring the general public to demystify the entire process of baking. And that's why we have amazing cake mixes. I call them the breakthrough cake mixes because it's very easy to use. You know, it's just mix it and then you bake it. It's as simple as that. And me being like a reformer, why I came into this sector is I want to be able to look at why do we use things like aspartame, ACK to sweeten baked goods. I'm like, no, we can do without those kind of sweeteners and bring in nutritive sweeteners instead of those non-nutritive and actually carcinogenic sweeteners. So I am here just trying to reform that industry, doing my bits to reform as much as I can, and then pass the baton to the next person, and for them to also go the full distance in ensuring that we don't play part of the bad food politics that's going on globally around the world just because we want to scale a business. So other challenges are, there's a lot, you know. Then the delivery, sometimes the roads are bad and then you can't go too far, or you have to pay premium to get your goods to their desired destinations. Sometimes when we even ship our products out of Lagos to other parts of Nigeria, it can take as long as 2 weeks to move those goods from Lagos to a place like Abuja. And then when you have a shelf life of your products for like 3 months and it's already spending 1/3 of the time in transit, so you just have 2 months to play with. It just puts you under a lot of pressure. And so for us, we've just looked at all these issues as growing pains, you know, and those are some of the challenges that we encounter running the business.
My name is Femi Olawale. I'm a decorator, and we are so structured and has a procedure. That's what makes us to be more efficient in every of our products. Sometimes it's somehow tough, while sometimes it's easy because we have to give our customers exactly what they really want. So for these, we go a very long way to satisfy our customer in all our efforts. Sometimes, you know, most of our customers to talk to us rudely based on saying that we are doing cakes, but for the fact that we really need them. So we just have to take it and face the life challenges the way it comes. And we're in another dimension of challenges sometimes, based on our product, we have to deliver. Sometimes we have a series of challenges in terms of delivery and all that. Our customers, they are some of them are very easy, while some are tough, No matter how it is, we just have to, satisfy our customers, because all customers are always right.
My name is Juliet Aigwe. This is not your regular 9 to 5. This is my life.
Many thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa.
State government has approved a bill for the establishment of State Security Network Agency, Amotekun.
We have the highest number of extremely poor people in the world.
He's not concerned about lecturers that are raping students that are under their care. He's concerned about them being stigmatized.
And I can tell you that he will get the result in full measure. He cannot avoid responsibility.
Why the focus on Africa at this point?
The news only cover, one side of Africa, so we always felt like the picture is incomplete, so we need the whole picture.
65% of these people, whom we term as the urban poor, live in settlements, otherwise known as slums.
This is just the tip of the iceberg of the road situations in Lagos, from the mainland to the island.
It's been a closed-door security meeting as the retreat for senior police officers hits day 3.
There's this basket or there's this bowl that we all come to the center to pick from. Everybody has to see Nigeria as an investment vehicle, not as a distributive mechanism.
Still on the foreign scenes, Russia has flatly denied allegations that is spreading disinformation about the new coronavirus outbreak on social media.
Australian Open debutant Coco Gauff defeated defending champion Naomi Osaka in 2 straight sets.
Kenneth Okonkwo Kanayo and Bob Manuel Udoku have been conferred with the Veteran Actor of Nigeria Award.
This is Plus TV Africa.
Plus TV Africa.
Plus TV Africa.
Big stories live here.
Many thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines. I am Osaogi Ogbonwa. The police in Lagos have dispersed some youths protesting against the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. The protesters are seeking the dissolution of FSAR's unit of the Nigerian Police Force. They had earlier announced that the protest would be held across Lagos for 3 days, starting from Wednesday. While dispersing them, the policemen seized their placards and allegedly assaulted some of the protesters. And protesters demanding the reformation of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad besieged the force headquarters Abuja. They sat on the Shehu Shagari Way shouting, "End SARS." They also wielded placards with the same inscription. The protesters poured red paint on the road to illustrate the killings and bloodshed by SARS operatives. The Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, says banning the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, FSARS, is not the solution to cases of extrajudicial killings by the police unit. His statement comes after the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, last week banned FSARS personnel and other tactical squads of the force from embarking on routine patrol. Senator Lawan, who stated this on Wednesday during plenary in response to a motion by Senator Oluremi Tinubu on extrajudicial killings and human rights violations by SARS operatives, said one of the solutions is to arrest and prosecute police officers who have engaged in extrajudicial killings. Federal lawmakers who debated the motion say the abuse and human rights violations by the police, particularly SARS, have reached alarming levels.
Senate is worried that despite assurances by the Inspector General of Police in 2015 and 2017 that there would be reforms of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, Nigerians are daily still being abducted and extorted under duress with no mechanism in place for complaints and resolution of same. Senate is saddened that SARS operations have degenerated into intimidation, harassment, and extortion of innocent Nigerians.
If nothing else, at least the right to the contents of your telephone is at least protected until there is a warrant for that arrest before it could be searched. But now these people have become more like extortionists, extorting money from people by going into their phones, not because they actually want to provide law enforcement, but they are looking for ways to force these people to part with money. But as that is, it is even worse that they move beyond that to want to take lives without a due process.
Those involved in the recent incidents should be arrested and prosecuted. There are good people in all the security agencies, just like there are bad people. Probably scrapping of agencies when you have mistakes may not be the solution. But I think rule of law should be the guiding principle. You do the wrong thing, you face the consequences.
And 8 persons have been killed in the gas explosion that occurred in Barua community in the Alimosho local government area of Lagos State. The explosion, which reportedly started from the best roof cooking gas, occurred around 5:45 a.m. on Thursday. The Director General, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Olufemi Oke Osaintolu, said the agency's emergency response unit had been deployed in the area, adding that the explosion razed houses, shops, and a primary school. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has said that 5 persons were killed following the gas tanker explosion in Barungwa area of Alimosho, local government area of Lagos State. The acting zonal coordinator, Southwest Zonal Office of NEMA, Ibrahim Farinloyi, confirmed this and said that 3 persons have been rescued. He said the incident occurred at 5:45 a.m. at Kandos Road, Barua, inside Lagos, when a liquefied petroleum gas tanker was in the process of discharging at the Best Roof Gas Plant station. The generator turned on triggered the explosion. The fire has been put off by officers of the Lagos State Fire Service while impact assessment by emergency response agencies was going on. And the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has commenced distribution of sensitive materials to various local government areas across the state for Saturday's election. Roads leading to the Akure office of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, were cordoned off. Security officials were present inside the CBN and on the roads leading to the bank. Still on News on the Hour, hundreds of retirees in Ekiti State have rejected a proposal from the state government on the non-payment of their accumulated outstanding gratuities by the state government. The retirees under the banner of the Nigerian Union of Pensioners came to the State Secretariat of the Union to register their grouse on certain policies of the state government. Pensioners in the state said government announced that those who retired in the state from 2012 to 2014 should report at the pensions office with their original pensions letters and other relevant documents.
The government has let us down, and it has made the union to be at the mercy of concerned pensioners. The concerned pensioners, at their meeting which was held at the State Pensioner State Secretariat this afternoon, they have totally rejected the offer, and they are calling for fresh negotiation.
Only for the government to print out a form telling us that you either agree on 20 to 25%, and that even with this 20%, you cannot receive anything until February 2021. It's unfair. Where in the world have you ever had that people's gratuity are on ratio? Where?
All I know is that if you are collecting your own by February next year, you can't exceed the 15%. It cannot. I can show you that. It cannot exceed the 15%. I think that is the position of government. And that has been a decision of the governor with the Executive Council.
Joining us live is Ayo Kumakbayi, the chairman, Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Ekiti State. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, good day.
Can you hear us, sir?
Yeah.
All right, brilliant. I want to ask, the explanation from the state government, do you not think it is satisfactory in any way that it is the bank contacted that is working on the 25% deduction?
Can I come?
Kindly
Hello?
go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. The issue of payment by financial instrument was being introduced by the state government to clear the areas of facilities for pensioners, which has shrunk to about 13 billion plus. We have told Mr. Governor, and he is agreed that presently at the giving us 100 million per month. But he said, according to the effect of the COVID-19, the government may not be able to sustain the monthly 100 million payment. So he suggested this payment by financial instrument at a discount rate of 15%. So we went into negotiation with the government. And as with the governor, we pleaded that the amount should be reduced. He promised to do something about it. But when we posted this idea, it was during the COVID-19 pandemic. Immediately after the issue of the lockdown. But we are still hampered with the fact that we cannot meet for more than 20. That was why we have representatives of our members year by year who are being both gratuity. From year 2012 to year 2015, they formed the committee that were responding to government requests. We floated an opinion poll, both online and normally, and we discovered that 95% of our members, those affected members, they agreed at very discount rates to do this to Mr. Governor as the bargaining point that the 15% should be reduced. But a circular came out just yesterday that members will come and collect, concerned members will come and collect forms. And we now find out the document that this arrangement has been increased to 35. The government was disbursing 100 million naira per month to settle areas of activity, which was around 13.2 billion. And the government realized that if we are going on that, it will take almost 20 years to settle the whole disbursement bill to pensioners in the state. So it devised a means, he proposed this payment by financial instrument. And negotiation was at 50% discount. But it was surprised when our members were called out to come and approve forms. And they approved the form, and the form now found that some days have been increased to 25%. This did not go well with us.
All right.
That's why
Kindly hold on, sir.
we reject the 25%.
Okay. Do you think it would be better, Mr. Kumakpai, kindly hold on. I want to know if you think it would be better if you and your members get your accumulated gratuities,
Yes.
since apparently your members are getting very old. So do you think it would be better if you get your accumulated gratuities?
Yes. Yes. It's not only that. I want to add that this issue is voluntary. They didn't make it compulsory, it's voluntary. And our members have been approaching us. The union believes that the age of consent in this country is around 19 years. And if you have people above the age of 60, they should be able to decide for themselves what they want. We asked them, we conducted an opinion poll, normally and online. And we discovered that about 92.5% of them they agreed in principle, but at varying degree of discount. So we took this to disappointment. In principle, we agreed to the idea, but that we would like to, the union will want the discounting rate to be reduced to 50%. But what we had was that we now had a document carrying 25%. So we believe that it was a setback with negotiation. That's why we have a fresh renewed negotiation to discuss about the business.
All right, so what exactly, and we have to apologize for the poor quality of the audio. What exactly, Mr. Kumakpai, would you say are your demands from the government as it stands, your immediate demands?
Well, our immediate demands is that we should go back to 15% or less, and that the time limit we said we should submit our form before 5 days. We said they should give us time to report back to us. Incidentally, we met with the head of science and the Commissioner for Finance just about an hour ago, and they've assured us that the percentage discount rate now remains at what we were negotiating before, 15%. We are to hold a meeting with them next week to iron out the same problem.
Okay. All right. Ayo Kumakpai, the chairman, Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Ekiti State. Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you very much.
Following the joint statement by the president of New Peng and Pengasan, Prince William Zakboreha and Festus Osifo, directing their members in Chevron to withdraw their services, Pengasan Lagos branch chairman Ete Oyegbari on Thursday, in an organized meeting at Chevron office to address its members, says they are now on a negotiation process with Chevron management, as such has asked staff to return to work.
We have been able to reach some form of resolution. That is thanks to the GMD of NNPC, who has been able to broker a truce between us and brought us to the negotiation table. That required that management will hold back on the process while we will return to work, and then both of us will meet to discuss and reach a possible agreement. We believe it is very workable. We agree with that resolution as people who are interested in the progress of the company and the country. Every form of resolution is welcome. and every intervention is accepted. Because he that comes to equity must come with clean hands, and then you must be willing to show the resolve to resolve the problem. We don't want industrial crisis in our company. We only did this to make sure that we can set things right.
And now to other parts of Africa. The Ministry of Health in Kenya on Wednesday announced that 4,328 people had recovered from COVID-19, the highest number of recoveries in the country. The total recoveries now stand at 31,659. Of the 4,328 new recoveries, 4,222 patients were on home-based care, and 106 were in various hospitals across the country. The Minister of Basic and Secondary Education in Gambia, Claudania Cole, on Tuesday announced the reopening of schools in Gambia. For grades 7 to 12 will reopen on the 14th of October 2020, and for preschool to grade 6, they will reopen on October 28th. The minister said her ministry is working hard to reduce the number of students in classes and to monitor education responses during this trial moment. And outside Africa, Kuwait's parliament unanimously voted on Thursday to endorse veteran security chief Sheikh Mashal al-Ahmad as the crown prince after the new emir named him on Wednesday. Sheikh Nawaf al-Ahmad al-Sabah assumed power as emir following the death of his brother Sheikh Sabah al-Ahmad last week, at a time of tension between Kuwait's larger neighbors, Saudi Arabia and Iran, and as the government tries to shore up finances strained by low oil prices and the COVID-19 pandemic. Diplomats and analysts say that because of his low-key style and age, Emir Sheikh Nawaf, 83, may delegate a larger portion of responsibilities to the Crown Prince. And Afghanistan's top peace official, Abdullah, held talks with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi on Thursday as they tried to muster support for Afghan peace talks with the Taliban. The chairman of Afghanistan's High Council for National Reconciliation said on his official Twitter account that during their meeting, he and Modi discussed the latest developments on the Afghan peace process. Abdullah also held talks with Indian National Security Advisor Ajit Doval on Wednesday. And now in business, the World Bank in a statement on Wednesday said the pandemic compounds conflict and climate change, which were already slowing poverty reduction progress. The bank estimated that an additional 88 million to 115 million people will be pushed into extreme poverty in 2020. The estimation may rise to 115 million by 2021, depending on the severity of the economic contraction. The Biennial Poverty and Shared Prosperity Report noted that extreme poverty is likely to affect between 9.1% and 9.4% of the world's population this year. This would represent a regression to the rate of 9.2% in 2017. Still ahead is our roundup on entertainment and sports news. We'll be back in a moment.
We can't talk about education reform if we don't decolonize our education system.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize. Because it's just cultural. And I think it's just human nature.
They stop paying us salary. I don't like remembering it.
I am angry at Nigeria. I'm angry at this government which seems to be letting us down. I'm angry at us as a people.
In the process of struggling to free myself from his hand, he tore my pants and he raped me.
Yes, I commit offense truly.
Young girl, do you know where you are going? I say, I'm going to America. I say, oh. Now so that they talk, you are going to Libya, which America?
As it then do mark our place, some people they die now.
Politics is very expensive in Nigeria and poverty